Welcome back to the channel, folks. If you're watching this after the fact, make sure to smash that like button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and hit that notification bell and share. If you're watching this on X, formerly known as Twitter, make sure to give this a little heart and a retweet and let me know in the comments what you think. If you're watching this on Rumble, make sure to give this a rumble and leave a comment, and the same logic applies. Share. Thanks to everybody that gives my videos a share. I respect every single one of you. You are giving me good information in the comments section. Today we're going to be talking about Celbridge in County Kildare, where a young girl, they're saying now, was attacked. So everybody that was outside the front of the Manor Hotel in Celbridge was wrong, apparently, and their anger wasn't warranted. Now, for anybody that's watching this on... Oh, no, it's not streaming on Rumble. Apologies about that. I don't know why. But it's still streaming on YouTube and X. So what I don't get is the media blackout and the whack job mentality. Bit of a disclaimer: anything that's spoke about today is opinion based, so don't take what I say 100% serious. I'm not a news organization. I just give you my opinions. So anything that's spoke about today and that isn't a registered fact is just an opinion, and don't take it serious. This all exists in GTA 6 and Minecraft. As you know, yesterday I had a video taken down for absolutely nothing. I looked into the legalities of what you can put in titles. As long as you're not promoting criminality or anything like that, you're 100% fine. I've also noticed weird behavior in my other videos where comments are being turned off without me doing it. And I turn on the comments and I go back and the comments are turned off again. And I don't even have an email to tell me why the comments are being turned off. Apparently, comments get turned off whenever people comment bad things. But there was only 3 comments on this video anyway, so I don't know why they would do that. So obviously, there is something going on here. If people don't know already, my other channel, Holden Official, was taken about 2 months ago. I had this channel in the background. I might actually create another channel, another backup channel, just in case this one goes down. I highly doubt it because I'm going to really be careful with my words here. I know what I can say and what I can't say, and I know the code words. We'll actually go through that. There's going to be code words with everything I speak about. When it comes to certain people, I'm going to say the alphabet people. I'll actually put a community post up so you know what I'm speaking about, because there's a lot of nasty snakes out there, guys, that will just scar through your videos, pick apart the parts where maybe you've said something, you know, you maybe slipped up, and they'll flag that. That's what they're doing. That's what, you know, these channels will be heavily attacked. So yeah, let's start the show now.
The allegation of groomer and pedophile, it is alleging that a person is criminal somehow and engaged in criminal acts merely because of their identity.
Don't tell me I had the mic off. Don't tell me I had that mic off. Did I have that mic off? I'm going to have to clip that. Bloody mic. I have this setting on StreamYard to have the mic on as I start, and it... Did I have that mic off? Did I have that mic off? Oh, brilliant. Oh, my heart was near my mouth there. Right, that's good. That's good. Let's get back into the show. I'm an idiot.
The allegation of groomer and pedophile, it is alleging that a person is criminal somehow and engaged in criminal acts merely because of their identity, their sexual orientation, their gender identity. So this is clearly prohibited under Twitter's content, yet you found hundreds of these posts on the platform.
Son, you know, once you start, there's no going back.
I know.
This means total commitment. Once you begin the path, there is no leaving the path. Are you sure you're ready for that? I mean, really ready?
I guess so.
That's literally me and my son. My son came to me the other day. I have to tell you this story. It's funny, right? I'll start off the show with this. So my son came to me the other day, and there is... I'm gonna word this carefully, but you just know what I'm speaking of because you're very intelligent people. You've caught on to everything that I'm saying. My son came across a boy that identifies as, you know what, round about the same age. And he came to me and he says, this is no joke. He came to me and says to me, Daddy, and he's 9, I wasn't seeing this whenever I was 4. So even he has realized, 9-year-olds have realized what's going on. And I just told him the truth. I said, son, there's good parents and there's bad parents. You're very lucky to have somebody like me who's going to tell you the truth. I don't lie to you. I've never lied. Don't lie to your kids. I've always been straight with them. I've had people give off to me about how honest I am with my kid. Even when he, like the stranger danger stuff, I just told him exactly what could happen. I didn't beat around the bush. Didn't say, oh, the stranger's going to take you away and take you for ice cream. Or like road danger, says you will get hit by a bus and you will be splattered on the road. That's what's going to happen to you if you don't listen to me. And he's always listened to me. So he's came to me. I've given him the ability to make his own mind up, and he's noticing the difference. Even when we're just out in the street, he's like, why is there boys running around with dresses on? He's came to me and said that. I haven't infiltrated his little brain. He just comes to me. None of this talk goes around my son. I teach him about being good to everybody, respect everybody. He's came to me, a 9-year-old. So for all the whack jobs out there that say there isn't a conspiracy theory, this is just a conspiracy theory and there's nothing to this here. I don't know what is in that water. Stop drinking tap water, folks. Honestly, it's messing with the hormone balances in your body. My 9-year-old kid has picked up on that. 9 years of age. He's sickened by it. Me and him walk down the street and he's like, let's get the fuck out of here. This world's fucked. We're waiting for the apocalypse. Both of us are doomsday prepping. He keeps me in check. He's saying, listen, get those extra tin of beans in, Daddy, because this world's about to go tits up. The rapture is coming. This is no joke. The other day, right, 9 years of age, never promoted God to him in my life. He was on the headset playing with his mates, and his mate said, God isn't real. This is no joke. This is what my son done. This isn't me doing this now, right? He goes, I'm not your friend anymore. And he deleted him, and he hasn't spoke to him since. Just eradicates that shit out of his life. Possibly could be his autism. He's like, if you're going to say God isn't real, I'm going to eradicate you from my life. That isn't me. If he came to me and says, look, I don't believe in any of this shit, I'd be like, listen, it's up to yourself, son. I don't even promote it. Comes to me all the time about scripture, and he's like 9 years of age, about what's this in the Bible? I was like, well, son, like, should you not be out, like, I don't know, like playing Fortnite or something? Nah. Waiting for the end times, getting jacked up. 9 years of age, autistic, and he's already doomsday prepping. And that's not even, I don't even have a hand in that. He keeps me in check. Sometimes I think to myself, who's the dad here? Who's the dad? Crazy stuff. So let's see who's in the chat. Right. So yes, we're going to get into an article now. And my God, the whack jobs on Twitter. I took down a video on Twitter yesterday because I went a wee bit crazy because I can speak freely on there. And I linked in that situation with a situation about elitist Speedos, right? And I shouldn't have done that. So I took down the video, but there was a commenter on it saying to me, he's probably watching now on X. And he says to me, he started saying that I was lying about the Celbridge incident at the Manor Hotel. And I was like, hold on. You don't even know what happened here. I'm saying that it could be anybody. But the fact that the mainstream media isn't reporting on it is an indication that we know who it is. Now, I've had information sent to me since then, and I don't know. I'm not going to tell you that information because I don't know if it's true. All I'm going to say is one bit of information that was given to me, I was told that it wasn't a native. And I says, look, this is where it gets tricky because people are going to do bad things, right? People are going to go do terrible things. But was it directly, what I want to know is, did this happen directly because of people that were brought in at 2:00 in the morning? If so, if that's the case, then we've got a serious issue here because we've got an issue with natives doing this to children, right? So this isn't about race, religion. Native people of Ireland, native people of England, America, blah, 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 all around the world do that to their own children, right? As I say, go and check out Gabby Chong. Her stuff's phenomenal. She talks about a lot of this here, right? And she exposes a lot of this here. And So why would we want to bring in more? Why would we want to bring in people, 70% of the refugees that are ripping up their passports? If I went to a country, Australia, and I ripped up my passport and said, look, you're not getting in. And then I came back and I complained to you on a live stream. You would say to me, Ronan, but you didn't have a passport, mate. You have to get in with a passport. You have to get in with legal documentation. Fine Gael have told you the truth. I broke it down in my video yesterday. I'm going to clip it for you and I'm going to title it Fine Gael Caught Lying about immigration, the truth. She said, that girl McEntee said, a person can come into Ireland with no legal documentation, but they still have to prove who they are. Now, to the sheep, a lot of sheep would go, well, that's great because you're proving who they are. You can't prove who a person is without legal documentation. So what Fine Gael's basically saying there, and all the rest of them, the Sinn Féins, the Fianna Fáils and all the rest of them, and the Greens, they're basically saying, well, if as long as they're verified by maybe a third party, we're going to let them in. Like a phone call from said country from a person that's supposed to be their relative. So what they're basically doing is they're relying on the sheep to support them, even when they come out with statements like this. Unfortunately, I'm not a sheep. I wish I could go back in time. You've just watched that clip where the dad says to the son, there's no going back. There is no going back. Once you're in the know, there's no going back. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. This is not a conspiracy theory anymore. This is what they're doing, and it's not a coincidence. At the exact same time, America, England, the West is the leaders of the West is allowing all this to happen in their countries. At the exact same time, 7.1 million illegals traveled into America. I think it was within a 3-year period from the Biden administration. 7.1 million. How many people are in Ireland? Is there like 1 million people or something? 2 million people? That's like, what are we doing here? So obviously there's something going on. Obviously this is what's happening. And I'm going to stop ranting now. And I'm going to get up an article here. So I'm going to get up an article here. Have they took this down? Two days ago. Ooh, that article's just... So hold on. So they've took the articles down, have they? Celbridge Manor. Celbridge attack. Let's see what comes up with that. Right, so this is from the Journal, which sounds like a very left-leaning thing, doesn't it? Hopefully you don't have to pay for it. You have to pay for everything. Notice that about down south. All the articles you have to pay for. Buy this for €1 a month. It's like, no, fuck off. Right, so we're going to give it this. Now, this is what was released. I'm going to show you here, right? Gardaí probing alleged assault of girl in Kildare amid false online rumours of a sexual crime. Gardaí investigating the alleged physical assault of a young girl by an individual at a hotel in Kildare are not considering the incident a sexual crime, the Journal understands. Now, they're very clear on that, so you need to know this, right? For legality reasons, you need to know media language. They are not considering it a sexual crime, right? So what they're doing there is they're taking the blame away from themselves in case it is. Now, what I want to know is, why was there lots of parents and lots of people outside this hotel protesting? Because if something like that didn't happen, then a rumor would have got out, just say a nasty rumor would have got out, a lie would have got out that this was happening. A lot of people would have cried it up, and then another rumor would have got out that it didn't happen, and people would have said, look, this didn't happen, we'll all have to go home here, we're stupid. But that didn't happen though, did it? The Gardaí came down and protected the entrance. Now, if you look into the hotel itself, I'm not 100% sure. Niall McConnell's done more work than me, but I do believe that it's directly linked in with housing refugees. I'm not sure about that one, but the owner is directly linked in with housing certain refugees. And this was at a hotel. Now, was it a case that the parents and the people of the area put two and two together and went, well, it's at a hotel. We know the government's housing using 50% of the hotels to house refugees and asylum seekers, so it possibly could have been one of them. Is that what we're dealing with here? And it took this, so they needed to release something. And it took, I came out yesterday and I said, look, the fact that they haven't released anything is an indication that we know who it is. Now, they didn't even give a description. Somebody said to me on Twitter, well, you know, they can't give a description, they can't give any of those things because of a court case. And that's a load of balls. Of course they can. Of course they can. If a woman was just randomly attacked, maybe punched or something in a hotel by an Irishman, it wouldn't have escalated as it did. I don't think. Rumours circulated on social media in recent days claiming that a young girl staying at the hotel near Celbridge, which houses international protection applicants, was violently sexually assaulted by three men on the grounds of the facility. Now, let me just do this here, right? So let's talk about rumours here. So this is their mainstream narrative. So let's talk about rumours. If a rumour starts, you're not going to say three people. You're going to say, well, there was a girl just say you're a malicious liar. Well, this girl was sexually assaulted by one person and it was from that said individual, that said group done it. It's very specifics. These are very specifics. The rumor came out that three people apparently had done this to a young girl. So you'd have to say to yourself, why is there so many specifics? And I'll tell you why I bring that up. Because before I came onto this channel, I was on another channel. And in one incident that I was involved in, there was a guy claiming that he wasn't a sexual predator, right? And then he told me he couldn't get paperwork. So I says to him, get an ACRO. It shows allegations and convictions. And it's everybody can get it in the UK. And he tried to say he didn't even have any allegations. But then when you looked into his paperwork, even the things that he was alleged to have done and they were NFA'd, no further action, the specifics in them were very, very telling. They just couldn't convict him because there was no DNA evidence or witnesses. And it's the same in this case. Because if you look at the specifics, a person just didn't make a malicious rumor up of one person or two people. They made allegedly, they're trying to say that this is fake. They made a rumor up of three people assaulting a young girl in a place that houses international protection applicants, refugees. Do you know what I mean? Now, was this the case of a fire starter, but not actually using actual fire? Somebody seen this as an opportunity to rally up people in that area, so they made a malicious rumor, so everybody crowded around here and exposed that there was lots of refugees in this place. Possibly, that's a possibility. But once again, to say that three people sexually assaulted a young girl in this hotel that houses international protection applicants is a very specific allegation. If it was me and just say I was an idiot and I was evil and I wanted to cause a riot, I would say, well, one person done it and I seen it. I wouldn't say three. To say three, that came from somebody's mouth inside that building. That's what I have to say. I'm not saying it's true and I'm not saying it's fake. I'm saying that it's a very specific allegation. And I would be wary about that. Let's see what you have to say in the chat. And then I'll read on. I want to see your opinions in this here. So, interesting. I'm seeing Irish journalists on Twitter debunking any news on this topic, but also offering no news as to what's happening. So if they're journalists, why aren't they finding out? Exactly. Now that's my point. the pressure was on them to release this article because they needed to release something. And that's why I went a little bit crazy on Twitter, because I said to myself, well, hold on, it mightn't be anything to do with migrants. What you could be dealing with here is elitism, right? I'll keep it at that because I don't want to dive too much into that. Elitism, right? You know about that. And that's why it's being censored. But they were forced by people like myself when I came out and says, well, we don't know who done it, but why is there a media blackout? Well, it was an indication that there was a media blackout because the state media was told, do not report on this. But they do know the facts of this case. They do know the specific allegation. And they've came out here with sort of media terms to protect themselves, and they can just throw the blame on the police. And we know the cops, they'll never take responsibility for anything. They'll just, answer a question with a question. That's what they do. But what I'm trying to say is that the allegation, it's a very specific allegation. It's not vague here. Somebody had said 3 men done this. What we want to know was it refugees? That's it. That's it. And if it is, okay, listen, bad people do bad things. I get that. I'm not saying all refugees are going to do it. I'm not going to say all asylum seekers or immigrants are going to do that. There's Irish immigrants all across the world, but we need to know the facts of this. And what we're being told here is very, very vague, but we did get a specific allegation. And the people that were outside that Manor Hotel, are they all wrong then? Are every single one of them wrong? I don't know how many people, but I'm going to say 100. 50. I'll be conservative and say 50. 50 people are outside that hotel. And are those 50 people of that area wrong with the information that they got? I'm just saying, like, it's a very weird thing. Just having a look at the chat here. So, and that's another situation there too, right? That I'm looking into at the minute with the protection of kids in Ireland. I don't want to misquote statistics, but there's children going missing in Ireland. Tusla is some way involved with that. I don't want to say that just in case it flags the video as well. That's why children were in the building, as far as I know. So this is what I'm saying, right? Was it, maybe this had got nothing to do with migrants? And see, for a long time there, right, I thought to myself, are they masking their own dirty deeds with a migrant issue? Because think about it, if you create a smoke screen and everybody's focused on the smoke, well, you can operate over here with the real dirty deeds that you're doing. Yeah, I get that. Well, what's economic about them though, GR? Because they're, with the immigrants that I speak to who come here legally, and even a lot of them that come here illegally, they're straight away they're into a job. My son's best mate, his dad came here as like a refugee, and he's 100% fine. He's a good lad. Like, he works away, we get on the best. Like, so it's like there's a different type of them. Now, I'm not trying to say that they're directly linked to this, and I stated that in my last video. I said that on YouTube. We don't know who it is, but the fact that there's a media blackout is an indication that we do know who it is. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it's got not. Maybe there was a media blackout because it was to do with something else, elitism. We know what goes on. That's a fancy hotel, man. These are rich areas, and we know what the elites used to still get up to. I'm just saying. I know people are going to say, well, that's a whack job conspiracy theory. Say what you want. It's been exposed. Go watch Gabby Chong. I spoke to a lot of people in the SRA community that have been through this. A lot of them are bullshitters, right enough. I have came across a few bullshitters that I don't speak to, but there's a lot of them telling the truth. And Ireland is a hub for that, same as Scotland. So we will read on. The claim led to a demonstration outside the hotel on Tuesday evening, which was attended by figures prominent in the anti-immigration movement, and officers were targeted with fireworks. I never seen that. I seen all the videos, and I never seen that. Gardaí said earlier today that they were investigating the alleged physical assault. Now, listen to this here, right? Look at that for media language. I wish I was a dum-dum, but look at that for media language. So, Gardaí said earlier today they were investigating the alleged physical assault. So a physical assault can mean anything. You can put a sexual assault down as a physical assault because it's a physical act upon another person. This is media language, and you need to know this. So this is where they're covering themselves of a girl by an individual. But the journal understands that the incident is not being treated as a sexual crime. Well, you've just a physical assault. You could have just wrote assault. You could have just wrote assault. But they're really trying to put you over to physical assault. Do you see what I mean? Could be wrong. It's just the way I see media language. Investigators are liaising with TUSLA, there you go, the Child and Family Agency on the matter, and a Garda spokesperson described the incident as an allegation of physical abuse against a child by an adult directly known to them. So let me read that again, because you need to get you on a word. The allegation of physical abuse. So now we've went from, right? Now we went from physical abuse to from a physical assault to physical abuse. So I'm telling you guys, there's something up with this. They went from a physical assault to physical abuse. That could mean anything, but they're saying it's not a sexual crime. Physical abuse can mean a sexual crime, and a physical assault can mean a sexual crime. They need to get their wording right here. It added, Garda is not investigating any further allegations at this time. Gardaí also said in another statement this evening that they are investigating a number of individuals who attended the demonstration last night after fireworks were thrown in the direction of some members of the force who were in attendance. No Gardaí were injured during the protest, and the Garda spokesperson said that the investigators are carrying out inquiries into the actions of a number of those present. I couldn't give a fuck. How about that? I couldn't give a fuck. How about that? He's got a bit of a boo-boo. What do you expect? Look what the politicians are doing to the country. So their wording there is very off, guys. And this is from the Journal, who wrote this article. Bet you they don't even say that. No, they don't give you the name of the writer. Guys, there's something definitely 100% up with this. I can't. I'm not saying it's a sexual assault. I'm not saying it's anything. But what I will say is the way they have worded that article, to me, is an indication that they don't want you knowing what went on there. And looking at past situations prior to the immigration crisis, if anybody was in the conspiracy world, they would have worded articles like this when it came to elitism. The Dolphin Hotel, London. Concora Boys Home in Belfast. The mother and baby homes in Ireland. When they were writing about articles like that, they worded them like that, where they kept themselves in the legal boundaries, where if anything did come out, they can say, well, we didn't say that, and we didn't say that, and we didn't say that, and we didn't say that. We kept ourselves right, and we're all legal above board. That's the way I read that article. Now, once again, could this just be a situation where a girl was attacked just by a man or a woman, and that's all it is, and there's nothing to this. Okay, but how many people in Ireland got attacked? Like, I walk out my front door now and I'll see somebody being attacked, but I don't see then 200 people crowding around, or rumors that it's refugees or international protection applicants, which, you know what I mean? I don't, people just attack people. So why is it, why is it being put down like that? So let me just jump over here. I want you to read something here, right? Because I thought this was crazy. And let me know what you think about that in the comment section. I want to know what you think about that. But I want you to read something here, because I thought, now this is non-Irish related. This has got to do with Donald Trump. But this is RTE, right? This is RTE. Government cover-up. I can't say if it is or isn't, but I'll have to say that article is very sketchy. Sure, look what they did with the priests. They were just moved to another parish to do more abuse somewhere else. Yeah, a lot of them were moved to Brazil. A lot, the story about Brazil, the Vatican was one of the biggest funders of gangs in South America and impoverished areas around the world. They done that under the alias that this was to help, the area. But if you look into it, a lot of the priests that they sent that were convicted and accused of doing those things to children were sent off to South America, and they done terrible, terrible things. So that you have to understand with that situation, Catholics called out that situation. With the other religion that we can't really speak about, there's no whistleblowers, because it's literally like a cult. Not all of them are like that. Some of them don't care. Some of them drink and just are like everybody else. But the people that are hardcore in that, they will never blow the whistle. So yes, I'm going to share something to the screen here, right? This is non-Irish related. This is about Donald Trump. This is from RTE. And this is Trump. This is RTE's Ireland. Well, the state media in Ireland. This is their opinion on Trump. Now, if you don't know already, Donald Trump is being targeted at the minute. Anybody rising up through the ranks, it doesn't matter if you're in America, England, Ireland, if you're rising up through the ranks and you're directly targeting the establishment, the established elites, as I call them, of that country, then you will be targeted without a shadow of a doubt. So say what you want about Trump, but this is coming to Ireland. So you need to know here that what happens in America will happen here. So you need to look at you need to look at what's happening to Trump, and then apply those same rules to the liberals and the conservatives of your country. And right now in Ireland, who's got the majority power? Well, it would be the more liberal-based parties. And if you look at who the Irish government give a lot of money to during the first time Trump became president, they give a lot of money to Hillary Clinton, 100 million euros, actually. It's crazy. So we need to understand what's happening in America, because Ireland applies those same rules. And this is what they're doing to Trump at the minute. Trump disqualified from Illinois ballot, judge rules. So they've took him off the ballot in Illinois. An Illinois state judge barred Donald Trump from appearing on the Illinois Republican presidential primary ballot because of his role in the insurrection. There was no insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, but she delayed her ruling from taking effect in light of an expected appeal by the former U.S. president. Now, key word there, the insurrection. There was no insurrection. There was no insurrection. That was hooligans showing up at the Capitol building and storming the building. That was, and if you've seen the footage now, you've seen the police allow that shaman guy to walk through the building, the Capitol building. They actually escorted him. So it's basically a registered fact that was set up from the inside. And an insurrection is when a president or a leader says, you must do this to a government building or we must overthrow the government. He was on Facebook and Twitter and he said it needs to be peaceful, there needs to be no rioting, everybody needs to respect the law. And then what did Mark Zuckerberg do? Mark Zuckerberg took him off Facebook. So they didn't even give him the ability to further squat or further calm down the crowd. And the reason why there was a crowd like that, and the reason why that benefited the Democrats, is because you have to understand, the Democrats are the most lethal force on planet Earth in America. They are ruthless. They will do anything. This is what they're doing here. It's crazy. And this is RTA. This is RTA. Cook County Circuit Judge Tracy Porter sided with Illinois voters who argue that the former president should be disqualified from the state's 19 March primary ballot in its 5th of November general election ballot for violating the anti-insurrection clause of the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment. But there was no insurrection. And the people that were there, the video footage has emerged that the police basically allowed them into that building. The final outcome of the Illinois case and familiar challenges will likely be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court, which heard arguments related to Mr. Trump's ballot eligibility on the 8th of February. Sorry, I get tongue-tied sometimes. Miss Porter said she was Miss Porter said she was staying her decision because she expected his appeal to Illinois' appellate courts and a potential ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court. The advocacy group Free Speech for People, which spearheaded the Illinois disqualification effort, praised the ruling as a historic victory in a statement. So hold on there. The advocacy group Free Speech for People, that's a bit like the, what do you call that? The Patriot Act in America. They call it the Patriot Act, but it's just mass harvesting of data. So if you go against it, like, oh, you're not a patriot. No, I'm just against the mass harvesting of data. Oh, well, you do realize the sheep are going to just think that you're not a patriot. America, folks, America. The campaign spokesperson for Mr. Trump, the national frontrunner for the 2024 Republican nomination, said in a statement, "This is an unconstitutional ruling," which it is, that we will quickly appeal. Colorado and Maine earlier removed Mr. Trump from their state ballots after determining he is disqualified under Section 3 of the 4th Amendment of the Constitution. And here's what you need to know. Trump's still going to win. If they don't rig it, he's still going to win. Both decisions are on hold while Mr. Trump appeals. Section 3 bars from public office. Section 3 bars from public office anyone who took an oath to support the U.S. Constitution and then has emerged in an insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But he didn't do any of those things. So listen to this here, right? Listen to this. He didn't do any of those things. He told people, do not be violent. I remember the Facebook post that was watching it as it was happening. Do not be violent. Do not do anything bad. Respect the law. That isn't an insurrection. He cannot be responsible for what other people do. That's what they're doing here. Yeah, you're going to get whack jobs that just believe this shit anyway, because they're indoctrinated by the propaganda. He didn't do any of those things. I'm not even a big Trump supporter. Mr. Trump supporters on January 6th, like Mr. Trump supporters, but not him. They don't mention his, let me just highlight, they don't mention his Facebook post where he says, do not be. He literally said, prior to them showing up to the Capitol building and on social media, don't be violent, be peaceful, and respect the law. Now, some people didn't respect the law, but because they're coming after him, and this is what it is, this, in some degrees, this is the real Matrix coming after you, not that bullshit Matrix that Andrew Tate talks about. This is the real thing that's coming after you here. These are the Democrats. This is deep state. If you know about the deep state, man, it is tricky. Mr. Trump supporters on the 6th of January 2021 attacked police and swarmed the Capitol in a bid to prevent Congress from certifying Democrat Joe Biden 2020's election victory. Mr. Trump gave an incendiary speech to supporters beforehand, telling them to go to the Capitol and fight like hell. No, he didn't. He then, for hours, did an act on request that he urged the mob to stop. No. He says we must fight like hell, which means Biden says things all the time that could be interpreted as an act of war. But we know that's not what he said. He didn't say go out there and we must storm the Capitol building and we must take over this because this is a terrible thing that's happening. He says, no, respect the law. Don't be violent. He said all of those things. And then Mark Zuckerberg took him off Facebook. Twitter banned him because they wanted to silence his voice, because they wanted this to happen. I think that was set up from the inside. I think the Democrats set that up. If you know about the shaman guy, he was allowed to walk about the Capitol building aided by police. The video footage is out there. It's right there. The only reason people don't speak about it is because the mainstream media doesn't talk about it, but the video footage is right there. So, like, crazy stuff, guys, like proper crazy stuff. Let's see who we've got here. That's RTE, lad. Fake news, Danny boy. Fuck off. Fuck off back to Britain, you traitor. Brilliant. Storm you. Jesus Christ. You do get some northern prick. Even better. Well, listen, that's not an insult, is it? That's pretty good, mate. Thank you very much. You called me all the things that I love there. I would say, if you want to call somebody a traitor, I would say allowing your country to be invaded would be treacherous, in my opinion. You know, what is it? Brits out, radical Sharia law in. Okay. Exactly. RTE fake news, 100%. 100%. And that's not even just fake news. They are picking aside RTE state media. The people who run Ireland are Hillary Clinton people. And then look what's happening with all the hotels. I'm just saying. Don't shoot the messenger here. Don't shoot the crazy conspiracy theorists. Don't listen to me. This isn't factual information. All I'm saying is just see it for what it is. 100 million to the Hillary Clinton Foundation by Ireland. Come on. Jack Dorsey, former owner of Twitter, approved deleting Trump's tweets, telling the Capitol rioters to leave peacefully. This was proven by Trump at the end and verified by Musk when he bought it. Yeah, 100%. Stumble, 100%. 100%. They wanted to silence his voice because I believe that was set up by them. And then once he called for peace, they silenced him, and then to make it look like, oh, Trump done this. They have went after this guy. And think about this. This guy's a billionaire. He doesn't need to be here. He could be out living in, I don't know, somewhere, like, not doing this. He's only got a couple of years left, good solid couple of years left. Joe Biden's going into diapers. So you think to yourself, he doesn't need to be doing this, but he is. But, as you know, people say, well, he's corrupt. He's a corrupt politician. Donald Trump's a corrupt politician. I think you find all of them are corrupt. And Donald Trump worked closely with the mob. Everybody has to work with the mob. If you understand America, the mob still exists. It's just the unions. Of course you have to work with the unions. Of course everybody wants to pay less tax. Of course people want to do that. Joe Biden created these fucking laws. Do you know what I mean? So this is what I'm trying to say. But RTE is this is where they stand on things, guys, and this is why you cannot trust them. Do not trust anything that comes from RTE. Like, I don't watch RTE, I don't watch BBC, I don't watch mainstream media. Hi, mate. Sorry about the other night. I'd been drinking. It's all right, mate. Don't worry about it. A bit, and was a bit emotional. You're Irish. I'm sure you understand. 100%, mate. Listen, thick skins here, my friend. Say whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? I take nothing personal, no, but I appreciate that. Thank you, super late. James Anthony Ward, there is 133 million registered voters in America. Trump got 75 million votes. Biden got 81. There's your conspiracy theory math. Biden somehow got 20 million votes that don't exist. Yeah, exactly. But there was dumps. When I looked at that situation, it was, oh, there's a big pile of votes that have just been dumped in Massachusetts, or there's a big load of dumps that's just been a load of votes dumped in Portland or some shit, and you're like, what's going on here, man? I've never heard another election like this. I'm not. Listen, it is what it is. There's all, personally myself, I think the fuck them 100%. That's what I think. Not because I'm a big Trump supporter. I would much rather somebody other than Trump and Biden to run the America. I would much rather it be somebody like an Andrew Yang. I don't know if you know about him, Andrew Yang. He's like an Asian American guy, and he's an economist, and he's brilliant. He's brilliant, but you need to be a part of the system to get in there. Trump is a part of the system to a certain degree, but they went after him because he is going to stop the right. You have to understand this here, right? Let me just take this off for 2 minutes. So the reason why they're going off Trump, they're going after Trump here, because once he gets into office, Ukraine, Russia doesn't exist anymore, and Israel, Palestine doesn't exist anymore, and everybody just shuts the fuck up and goes back to their day jobs. Right now, you've got the American military industrial complex feeding off the wars that are happening around the world. That's why they wanted the Middle East to go on for so long. And that's why straight after the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine started, and Israel, Palestine, the Americans forced the people's hands to create these fucking wars, and then they make loads of money from it. Basically, let's sell them opioids and AK-47s. They make 100% profit from this shit. The cat's out of the bag. The cat is out of the bag. Weapons of mass destruction, my balls. Come on. Sheep farmers, goat farmers. Come on, right? So this is what I'm trying to say to you. The reason why they want these wars to go on, they're gunning for World War III. The Democratic Party, left-leaning people in America, are not for what they used to be for. They're not for freedom of speech and freedom of expression and anti-war. These people are pro-war. These people want war, and Donald Trump he will stop all of that within the space of 2 months, and they don't want that. They want war. And obviously, you're going to get sheep still believing them, and that's just the way it is. Joe Biden is like a web browser with 19 tabs open, 100%. That's a good way of putting him, actually. Are frozen, and he doesn't know where the music is coming from. That's a good one. I like that. Fair play. Trump had someone follow Joe Biden going to a dementia nursing home, so Trump is spying on Biden. I mean, I don't care if they're both spying on each other. Trump didn't start any wars. He is the best of a bad bunch. Yeah, that's what I believe. Horrible question to ask. Ireland is a beautiful place, but to say everything is okay is delusional. Oh, man, I don't even think the left is saying everything's okay. 100%. I agree with that. I want Ronan to be president. I could be fuck. I could be Monica Lewinsky for Ronan. Sucky $10. Here, I'll just say this though: was Monica Lewinsky Mossad? Was she Mossad? If you look into her, was she in there to compromise a sitting president? Just saying. I'm not being easy on Oil Bill traveling with Jeffrey Epstein 23 times. But if you look into Monica Lewinsky, she's got connections to Israel and Mossad. Not saying she's an agent, but I'm just saying. So that's a good one, Solway. So we'll do one more. Buy anything bookmarked from yesterday. Oh, right, okay. So I want to talk about this. So we'll just stop that screen. I want to show you this. So it's about, I'm going to read this here, right? So Ireland, 28th of February 2024, African migrant who done a terrible thing to Owen in, I can't say that, I think it's Boylan, and Ennis knife attack, had history of domestic violence. Nasser Ahmed, originally from Sudan in North Africa, was convicted of the murder of Owen in 2020. Now, I want to talk about this, right? There's another article I want to speak about too. So I want to speak about this. The media will not, and I mean will not, and refuses to really speak and give specifics on any cases to do with foreign nationals in Ireland. And because Ireland's so small, it's easily corrupted. So, for instance, if your kid is attacked by a foreign national, there's a good chance that you're going to be hushed up. Now, the proof about this is if you looked at you remember the attack in Dublin where the kids were attacked. Well, the first person that was on the scene was an Irishman, right? And the second person that was on the scene was a Brazilian, and both of these men helped that situation, and they both deserve credit. But the Irishman that was at the scene was told not to say anything, but the Brazilian man at the scene was told that he could speak freely, because they wanted to give off the illusion that an immigrant who was working here legally, all came here legally, a legal immigrant who came here, saved the situation. And look, everybody's bad and everybody's good. There's bad and goods on both sides. But the guy who was actually on the scene first, the Irish guy, was told to shut his mouth, because they didn't. And you have to understand the way the state media thinks. They think that we're going to pop off. We're on a knife's edge here. And what the media should do is they should take the opposite approach. If I was a politician, I would take the opposite approach. I would say I would do public meetings outside the front of the GPO, and I would say, look, what we need to do here is we need to understand that there's going to be bads and goods on both sides. But we do have a problem here with immigration, illegal immigration. So I'm going to bring in a heavier vetting process, and I'm going to bring in a process where yous are put first. But we'll still have to take our fair share of refugees, but we're going to cut this down by about 3/4 because Ireland's a small place. The Irish people would go back to normal in the morning. They would go back to their jobs, they'd go back to doing whatever they're doing, and you wouldn't hear a peep from them again, because they would think, right, we trust these politicians now. But that's not happening. The state media is actively going after people, and they are, like, for instance, I didn't hear too much about this. It takes me to go onto Twitter, X, to find out about stories like this. And when I go onto Michael O'Keefe's channel, he is constantly posting, and every single day I'm thinking to myself, I'm not seeing this in the mainstream media. I'm not seeing this promoted. Why? So I want to talk about this here. My illness means I can't draw down a mortgage, so I may have to immigrate. Woman's anguish at being left in limbo by the state. Now you have to think about it this way. There's a woman there, right? Let me just get this up. Let me just share this to the screen, right? And we'll have a wee talk about this. Because the Irish people aren't getting a lot of support at the minute, especially with the inflation. Illness means I can't get a mortgage, so I have to immigrate. Woman's anguish at cost, rental, home, rejection. Now, why is that woman worried about getting a mortgage? Jess 31 is earning so much for social housing. Jess 31 is earning too much. Sorry, I can't read. I need glasses. Too much for social housing, but not enough for cost rental. Like, you have to pay for this shite. It doesn't make a difference. A woman who had her application for a cost rental apartment rejected because she did not meet the affordability criteria has said the housing crisis is leaving people with no option but to immigrate. Now, here you go, folks. What the fuck is going on here? So you have women and families in Ireland saying we have to legally immigrate. Not illegally. They're not getting dinghy boats and going across the fucking ocean and landing in Brazil or Florida. They're not doing that. They're saying we might have to legally immigrate to a different country just to be able to afford to live. While other people across the world come in here, 70% of them that come in rip up their passports and are given everything. They're given a house, they're given food, they're given shelter. They don't have to worry about electric. They don't have to worry about that. But there's people here of this country that have been here for a long time, legal immigrants and natives, and people who have integrated into society, and people who have got their visas, and people who have, that are staying here now for the rest of their lives, good, decent people, are going, we're fucked. Leo, you've crashed the economy in Ireland. It's fucked. You've inflation sky high, homeless is sky high. There's shit everywhere. Businesses are closing down. You walk around Ireland now and you don't know if you're in Ireland or fucking in Africa. I don't mean that in a bad way with the how it looks, but I'm talking about what they're saying, what they speak. Half of them don't even want to learn Irish or English. They come here like, well, we don't need to because we'll just go into your own communities. We're just segregated away from everybody. It's like, what? That's not a good way to, of integrating into society. Gangs of men standing around the streets just not caring about speaking English or Irish or learning about the culture. It's got that bad that schools are saying we're not going to have Halloween anymore because it's offensive to people who come from different countries that don't celebrate Halloween, like i.e. Muslims that come here because maybe it's a pagan holiday and they're not into paganism and they see it as witchcraft. Well, I've been saying that for years, but nobody gave a fuck about my feelings. But I celebrated Halloween because I liked it. So tell me, Leo, how the fuck does this, how can a woman like that not get a house? But a man that's in Africa right now, that's probably on a plane on his way over here, that's ripped up his passport and has just made himself a fake Facebook, and you're going to take that as legal documentation or him verifying who he is, you're going to give that geezer a house or that person a place with food and money and everything for him to survive. But that woman from Ireland is saying that she has to immigrate to just to basically afford. There's going to be a mass exodus of Irish people leaving. I think I'll know what we'll do. How about this here? I've got a plan here. How about all of these countries come to Ireland and we'll take that warm country, right? So all of us Irish will just up and move and we'll do swapsies, like we're swapping a house, but it's countries. Because I'm sure Africa's got good weather, or some of these places in the Middle East have good weather. So we'll swap you for that, right? We'll swap you for that and you stay here. Because Ireland's such a small place. This isn't sustainable. We've got our own legal, we've got legal immigration. We take our fair share of refugees. I'm not against housing refugees. I'm against the amount that we're housing and the open borders, no vetting process. And when I hear stories like a woman like this who cannot get a fucking house, it boils my blood. It boils my blood. I can't help it. I'm angry. Let me have a wee look at this. I can see people have even seduced by Trump. If you look around the world, most leaders that were PM are gone. Trump was taken out for a reason, so he come back. Do you think he was taken out for a reason? Do you think it's like a show? I've been thinking about that myself. Like it was a show. He was taken out. There was chaos. Like after Obama, there was just chaos. Like it was just like, what's going on here? But it wasn't Trump's fault. It was like it was an orchestrated plan. Hello, how you doing, media? Look at Keith Wood's last tweet where a woman is talking about how her child can't walk around her area now in Dublin, which is 85% foreign national. Yeah, I done a reaction video to that yesterday on my premiered video from last night at 7 p.m. Check it out. Um, I'm going to clip a bit of that and post that on the channel just as its own and not in the full hour-long video. Helen McAtee refused to answer the question of that guy in the hospital in the hospital, that a known offender. It proves that the government don't like real questions, but they say the streets are safe. Yeah, but you seen that where that woman McAtee was asked the question. She's like, well, I'm not going to talk about it now. I can't speak. I'm not going to comment on that. And it's like, well, hold on. A guy went in, got his massive lanyard out and whacked off at the foot of the bed to a woman, and you don't want to talk about it. And he had previous, and you just allowed it. But if you say that there, you're far right and you're a bigot. Okay. Sure, look at all the landlords and the ones in government. Michael Haley Ray got $250,000 for migrants in his hotel. Wonder how many tore up the documents in that hotel. 100%. They're tearing them up before they even get here. So before they even get here, they're tearing them up. And I have to clip that part from from the video I posted yesterday. So I'm going to say this again for you to fully understand how they get in. So your girl McEntee said, well, she said, this is a quote from her. Even if they don't have legal documents, they still have to verify who they are. Well, how can you verify who you are if you don't have legal documents? So basically, somebody gets on the blower to the Irish government and says, I see that fella there. Yeah, he's my son. Okay, 100%. And then they take your fingerprints, to take a picture of you, to give you an Irish ID card. Now you're probably able to vote. And now you've got identification in Ireland. And you don't even have identification from the said country you've came from. So it's like this is the agenda. This is what they're doing. While at the same time, Irish people can't get houses. There you go. For anybody that's left-leaning or watching this right now thinking, well, I disagree with everything you're saying, we'll argue against that. There's Irish people that can't get houses, but there's people not of Ireland given accommodation. Work that one out. If I didn't know better, I think they want people to rise up. They're treating Irish people like they don't belong here. Yeah. And I've got a video. I'm gonna save it for tomorrow, where that people are like, oh well, I'm pro-Israel, or I'm because I'm against the Islamic wave coming into Ireland. No. Did you hear what the Israeli guy said about Ireland? Did you hear what he said? He says, well, why don't all the Palestinians go to Ireland? That's what he said. This isn't Israeli. It's I couldn't give a fuck what happens across the world. I couldn't. What's that got to do with me? I'm not pro-Palestine or pro-Israel or pro-Australia or pro-Yank or pro-Russia or Ukraine. I'm pro-Ireland. Couldn't give a fuck what's happening anywhere else. Whatever. You need a bit of help. Okay, we'll help you, but we can't wipe your whole and look after your whole population. Think of how veterans living under bridges in the USA feel about sending 150 billion to Ukraine. 100%, right on the money. Right on the money. And I'll tell you one thing though, right? I find it very hypocritical with this here. I'm not against Ukraine being sovereign. I'm not against that, right? I'm not pro-Putin. But I spoke to a guy who was a British soldier who went over to Ukraine and he fought for Ukrainian independence. And his family fought in the north here. And I says, well, that's a bit hypocritical. So you're for Ukrainian independence, but your family fought here in the north, and you don't support the north of Ireland becoming a part of the of the Republic of Ireland and a unified Ireland. He's like, well, no, I don't, because we're a part of the Union. I said, but you're for sovereign Ukraine. Yeah, that's hypocritical. So you have to understand the whole situation. I'm not getting at that. I'm not getting the people who go over, and if they want to go over and do that, that's fine. But it's like, you need to know you're being targeted by the media here. If something doesn't make sense, it's not supposed to make sense, and it's supposed to confuse you. I don't understand why anybody, any British soldier, any Irish soldier, any person went over to Ukraine to help and fight, while Ukrainian men left that country to live here. There was people that went from here to Ukraine to fight against the Russians, while the men from Ukraine came here to live. I mean, what? If Ireland is invaded in the morning, I stay and fight. Like, my wife and kid can go wherever, but I stay and fight. That's the way it happens. And if I die, I die. Ten previous convictions for the same behaviour. Do you know what I mean? But no, we'll not talk about that. Clean slate. Here's your ID card. Go vote. I reckon the government arrange for these African men to come over, but they have to promise they will vote for them when they are here. They probably don't even. It's like the elephant in the room. It's like that's what they're doing. They know that's what they're doing. It's like, why, for instance, you don't even need to say that. They don't even need to arrange for that to happen, because what they do is they come in and when it comes to vote, there's probably representatives that are like, well, it was Fine Gael, it was Fine Féin, it was whatever, not Sinn Féin. They were the ones that got you in here. You know that, okay? And who are they? Well, they're the ones that allowed you in. They're the political party, and there's a big referendum coming up, and there's a vote coming up at the minute. So yeah, you've got your Irish ID card now, so you can go vote. Something like that, like local radical leftist representatives in the migrant camps, probably going around door to door saying, well, this is who you should vote for to benefit yourselves. Do you know what I mean? And they're like, okay. I would too. If something happened here and I had to travel to fucking, I don't know, somewhere, and the person who let me in, I would probably vote for them, because I would feel like I owe them that, They're not Ukrainian. These men are all from all around the world. They are trying to destroy our history and our culture in Western countries, so it will be easier for a one-world government to be implemented. Yeah, there definitely is a push now for centralized control of money with crypto. The governments have clamped onto that. Centralized control of food. That's why you're seeing the farmers stand up, because they're rising the prices of all the products and everything, and they want central. Bill Gates is buying up most of the farmland in America and things, and let's talk about the European side of things here. They're trying to have centralized control of food, centralized control of money. So, and then inevitably down the line, 10, 15 years time, because they've downloaded your consciousness via Facebook and social media, they will have you down with a credit score, social credit score. And how that will work is, like, for instance, if you'll not even be able to be around me, because I'll have a really bad social credit score. And if you're around a person with a bad social credit score, your social credit score lowers. So then it's like ostracization of the damned people, of the undesirables. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they want, and then that keeps everybody in line. And it's a full totalitarian system. If you think I'm a whack job, that is down the line. If you think I'm a whack job, China basically does that. That's what China has. If you think I'm a whack job, in 2024, there's a place called North Korea. Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is. Like, Helen McEntee says, far right at every given opportunity for every possible agenda. You're 100% correct, man. Until she's actually asked to define what far right actually means, and then she doesn't know what to say. Well, here's a crazy one for you. So, everybody knows. Well, not everybody knows. Like, for the past 6 years, I've been very vocal on the Palestinian situation. I'm not a supporter of Hamas. They are a terrorist organization, but I'm not a supporter of Israel either. But before the man in the box told a lot of people to go out and be angry what's happening in Israel Palestine, I was called far right by the Jewish community, because I says, like, you're going in and stealing Palestinians' homes. Like, that's not right. I don't care if you're a Jew, a Christian, or a Muslim. You shouldn't be going into somebody's home and taking it. Like, well, we have that right because this is our land. We have this historical right. It's like, no, you don't. So then, well, you're far right and you're a bigot. So it's really ironic now that the same people, so like, you've got the left who are against Israel, right? And when they say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, which actually means the eradication of Israel. Like, so you support Hitler now? No. Well, you and Hitler would be on the same side. You do realize this? If this was 1930s Germany, the radical left, who calls everybody Nazis, would be supported by Hitler. And I understand people say, well, that's because Hitler's a socialist and there's, the socialist politics, socialist nationalists. I get that. But let's just take it from the dum-dums here, the dum-dums point of view. When somebody comes on and calls you a Nazi, say, well, hold on, you support the eradication of Israel. So you would probably be on Hitler's side. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, that's what a Nazi is, man. That's what a Nazi is. Do you know what I mean? So there's just dum-dums everywhere. And I'm not for the eradication of Israel, but I'm not for the eradication of Palestine, for a two-state solution. That's what it is. That's what it needs to be. And Hamas needs to be fucked off out of there, because they don't care about the Palestinians, because the blood's on their hands too. And, that's the truth. Like, fuck Hamas and fuck Israel too for what they're doing. If anybody knows, they know. If you know about North Gaza and you know about the Gaza Strip and you know about those places, what's been happening there prior to all this kicking off, don't come to me with the politics about that, about, oh, well, there's Hamas and Muslims and all. I couldn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? But that's, it's really strange to see the politics in Ireland change like this. It's like, hold on here. You and Hitler actually are side by side in this. Do you know what I mean? He would side with you, and you see their little brains scramble. They're like, oh fuck, he's right. Do you know what I mean? That's what they're like. This is how mediocre normally our politicians are. She couldn't even muster some kind of historical definition. She hasn't got a clue. No more of a clue than the average journalist, 100%. I got approached by my brother the other day, and he's like, oh, you're still at the old media thing. I was like, I just have a bit of crack online, like. And he's like, why did I just go to be a journalist? I go, a journalist? Because, what I mean, a verified journalist? He's like, yeah, you'd be good at it. I was like, so you want me to go to school, spend lots of money to become a journalist, to be told about, being unbiased, bipartisan, tell the truth for all, to then get a job in a media company to be corrupted by an elitist? I goes, fuck that. I would rather not have those credentials and be able to come on here and have a bit of crack. Do you know what I mean? I goes, the world is changing. We don't trust journalists anymore. BBC is dead. RT is dead. We get our news from social media now, and nine times out of 10, the people in social media are telling the truth over the real journalists. When I say the real truth, the journalists do speak the truth. They just avoid certain questions. That's why I look at Grip Media. And I think to myself, you're not going to get anywhere with this. You'd be safer starting a podcast and a bit like the Joe Rogan thing, and having that on like and doing that, and then just having a side media. Because right now people are screaming for the truth, and we want to get away from all these leaders' questions and all that. We want somebody to go up to Leo and say, look, Leo, you're a fuck about and you need fucked out. That's what's wrong here. To me, that's my version of true journalism, not somebody who's going to go in and be nice to these people. We don't want niceties anymore. We want people to say, look, when the gig's up, we know what the crack is, we know what you're doing, and we don't like you, and we need you out the fuck. I would vote for somebody like that. Look up Yuri Bezmenov, a Soviet KGB director who gave an interview on how the USSR created a long game psyop by infiltrating the universities. I read that. I just couldn't. I'm terrible with names. I seen that, man. It's like what's happening today, but I think China's got a lot of. I think they've teamed up with China. I don't know how Biden was allowed to keep his job at that time. He took all the troops out and left billions of tanks and weapons for Taliban to take. Yeah, so you have to understand the Taliban are like the second or the third most armed forces on planet Earth, because Biden left like 85 billion worth of equipment, of military equipment in the Middle East. So the Taliban, he pulled out overnight, left all his allies and a list of his allies that were still in Afghanistan. And they're all dead now, by the way. There was people that were in Afghanistan that were used to Western culture, like they were used to sort of like a half democracy. And within within the space of 24 hours, women were plunged back 400 years. They were told to cover up 6 hours of religious studies, sex slaves, and they went and killed all the allies because Biden literally left the list. And they jumped into F-50, whatever you call them, helicopters, fighter jets, with $85 billion worth of weapons, which makes them the third most armed forces on the planet. Think about that. And Joe Biden gifted the Taliban that. Think about that. Do you know what I mean? Apart from the Bible, how do European Jews have a right to Palestine? They're from Eastern Europe. That's why they don't allow DNA tests. Look, this is where I stand in this, right? Where you are in 20, I don't care what happened 2,000 years ago. I don't care what happened 100 years ago. I don't care what happened 200 years ago. Where you are now, right? The world we are living in 2024, right? If you are Hamas and you're attacking Israel because you think you're going to take hostages because you think this is the best thing to do, and you've got no resources, by the way, apart from Iran, you're a fucking dumb shit who doesn't care about the Palestinians. If you're Israel and you're allowing Jews from around the world to come over and kick Palestinian people out of their home because you think you have right to that land, you're wrong. These are Neanderthals. Is it a coincidence that Israel is the only democracy that's attacked? I get that, and we all know the radical Islamists don't like democracy. But we're living in a world right now where I can turn around and say, have I done a blood test and say, well, I've got heritage in Egypt. Well, I'm gonna go there now, and I'm gonna take that because I've got heritage there. Or it says in a book somewhere. It doesn't make a difference. Do you know what I mean? These people they need to start living side by side. If the Catholics and Protestants can do it, and trust me, there was real bitterness there. If the Unionists and if the Loyalists and Republicans can do it, then they can do it too. Now, what's the key difference with that, though? There is an element to the Middle East, especially when it comes to Islam, where they want to take over. And they just don't want to take over the Middle East. They want to take over the world. And that needs to be nipped in the bud. But at the same time, you've got these people, Hamas, that are supporting the Palestinians. They're supposed to support the Palestinians that have actively got them killed to provoke the war with Israel. Now Israel just went, fuck yous, and will start bombing left, right, and center. So Hamas needs to take 50% of the responsibility, but they won't because they don't care. They don't care about the Palestinians. Do you know what I mean? The Hamas doesn't care about the Palestinians. You just need to know this. This is whenever they took over in 2005, they promised democracy. Within a year, they abolished democracy. There's Palestinian children being bulldozed under the ground right now and being bombed by Israel, and I don't support Israel because they're evil. They're evil. This is why I get hate from both sides. But Hamas provoked that. That's like me going over and punching Mike Tyson, and then Mike Tyson breaking my jaw into 15 different places. You're not going to have protests, are you? Going, Mike Tyson shouldn't have done that. Well, I punched Mike Tyson. I deserved the punch in the mouth. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's like. That was the equivalent of what happened here. How the fuck did Hamas think they were going to win that? To cause as much mayhem as possible and actively using Palestinian people as shields. If you give the Palestinians an option right now if it went to a vote with the remainder of the Palestinians, because a lot of them are dead, if you voted to vote out Hamas and to have a two-state solution, they would take that. Hamas don't want that. Hamas do not want that. They want mayhem, unfortunately. I'm not, I am pro-Palestine, but I'm not pro-Hamas. And I was an advocate for the Palestinian people to be free long before the man in the box told you to be angry. You need to know that. The powers that so want to have been at this quest for control for a very, very long time. Fascinating story too. Yeah, man, I went down a rabbit hole the other day. I'm still in the middle of it. Europa, the last battle. Sketchy, like, didn't want to share it on my Twitter because I didn't want people to think it was that way inclined, but interesting shit. But it could be propaganda. Remember, nothing is as it is claimed to be, as in Netanyahu funding Hamas. Well, look, there's no real evidence of that. If I could say, well, was Netanyahu funding Hamas? I would say there's more evidence to prove. Like, if you know about Netanyahu, like, he was going to be kicked out, and then this happened. Like, how did Hamas breach the greatest border in the world? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It was like it was set up. 100%. That's where I stand with things. Like, I'm pro Ireland. We live in an era where politicians try to clean up the rest of the world while their own country crumbles. It's terrible what's happening in Palestine. I've been talking about it for years. It's terrible what's happening in the Middle East. What's happening all around the world. But I'm not pro any of these places. I'm pro Ireland. If you're from England, you should be pro Britain, or pro England, pro Scotland, pro Wales, pro America. Once you start forgetting about what's happening across the world and just look after your own, then every place gets better. The Hamas is complicit. The average age in Palestine is 19. That's like children. That's like saying to a child, which means that every time there's a bomb goes into a place in Palestine, that it's hitting a child. So the average age, is 19. So, complicit. Whenever I was 19 years of age, would I be complicit in a lot of things that, if some, probably. Hamas seen an opportunity and they've taken it, and they've been gearing up. You see, you have to understand, when somebody says from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, that means the eradication of Israel. Okay? Which I'm totally 100% against. But I'm also against anybody that comes out here and glorifies what Israel's doing to the Palestinian children. And what that does is that scrambles people's brains, and they're like, well, hold on, why are you not for one side or the other? I'm like, hold on, I'm actually pro-Palestine because the Israelis are fine. They're watered, fed, and they've got everything. Have you been to the Gaza Strip? I know people that have been. I know people who've patrolled the borders. I've seen it. Talked to them. I've spoke to them. They've said to me, look, and they've went over there. Jewish people says, look, it's fucking crazy. You can't go into the Gaza Strip. You'll be swarmed. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of tyrannical systems. You've got Hezbollah, Hamas. You've got all different paramilitary factions around there, and guerrilla tacticians that take advantage of the local population. What's wrong there? Well, they're lacking democracy. And if you asked a lot of these Palestinians, we've been forgot about, because they're crying out for democracy, but they're not giving it. And they're not giving it directly from the Islamic regimes around them. That doesn't mean that I'm anti-Muslim. But I can also acknowledge that for the past 75 years, Israel hasn't been good to the Palestinians either. You need to be totally unbiased in this. I seen a guy the other day, he had an Israeli flag flying outside his house, and I was thinking to myself, what are you doing? You don't know what's going on over there. People say, well, I don't want to speak about this because I don't want to give you my opinion on it. Why? It doesn't matter if people come on here and hate me for my opinion. Okay, for whatever. It's just the way I see things. And Qatar too, like, all these countries. To destroy the Abraham, according with Saudi Arabia and Muslim countries, I think they thought we have to act or lose everything. Either way, they did lose everything. Cheers, Andrew. Appreciate that, buddy. Yes. It was. It was. You're right. If you look at it, it was. It 100% was. And that's why they don't want Trump back in power, because that war will cease to exist once he comes back in power. They're all fucking mental. You're right. I'm going to wrap this up soon. I appreciate the chat today, guys. I mean, fantastic questions, fantastic criticism, fantastic information, as always. Come to Birmingham. I was in Birmingham, mate. Come to Birmingham, and you'll see what will happen to Ireland. Man, I wasn't Birmingham. I was there years ago, and it was like I got on. Like, anytime I go to England, the people I get on with are the people who own the corner shops. I'll say it like that. We all have the crack. Like, I don't have an issue with it, but it's like there definitely is a repopulation going on in England. Like, I don't know how England can come back from what's happened to them. I've seen the videos in London, and Alex Jones shared that yesterday in X. He's like, if you want to visit Pakistan, just go to London. Ulster Boy said, I stand with Ireland, and that's it, as we're getting made to be fools by the government and illegals, 100%. And it's not even the illegals' fault. It's not even their fault. Like, for instance, if you come from that country and you were given an opportunity, you would do it too. What they don't realize is they're being used as a political tool. And this is why I've never understood the radical left or the left in Ireland. Because it's like, okay, so you support open borders. Yes. You think nobody's illegal. No, everybody's allowed in. Okay. So then the people that you allow in are the most conservative people that you've ever met, even more conservative than me. No, they're not. Yeah, well, they're advocates for Sharia law. They're conservative Muslims. That's the most conservative thing you've ever came across. Actually, if Sharia law takes over Ireland, or if conservative Muslims get the majority vote in Ireland, it won't be people like me that they'll come after, because I live a pure life according to their eyes. I've got a wife, a kid, and we live pure. But the people that they will come after are the people that advocated for them to come in, the radical left, the LGBTQ. They will be the first people to be, choice words, targeted by the conservatism inside the Islamic Brotherhood. It's the most conservative thing in the world. I'm actually out here defending the left. I'm out here saying, listen, boys and girls, Zazers, and everybody in between, yous are fucked if yous allow this, because it's going to be you that they're going to come after. There's no LGBTQ in Islam. There's none of those things. It's off the rooftops with you, kiddo. That's what it is. And there's no other way of saying that. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean to be straightforward like that, but it is what it is. Like, Fiona, I hope you're well. Have a fantastic day. Listen, people, I'm gonna jump on here. I've got a bit to do today. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Share too, and smash the like button. Leave a comment in the comment section. Massive respect to everybody in the live chat. If you're watching this on X, give this a heart and a retweet, and leave a comment in the comment section. It didn't go live on Rumble for some reason, so I'm gonna have to upload this to Rumble later on. Yeah, exactly. That's it, guys. Massive respect to every single one of you. Have a fantastic day, and peace.